You know, we're saluting all those folks that went through the hard times. We're lifting up depression cooking because them folks did it all. What are we talking about? Classic chicken and dumplings. The best classic food and comfort food there's ever been. I'm talking about classic comfort food, chicken and dumplings. Really, my dad said it was more like a depression meal because there really wasn't a whole lot of chicken in there, but they could put a whole lot of dumplings in there, make a big pot of that, it would feed the whole family. And hey, it's still a classic today. It's something that I really think is probably one of the most traditional comfort foods that ever survived the Dust Bowl. To really bring out the most flavor in this dish, I think you need to get you some of them chicken thighs. Yeah, now you can find them with the skin on them, or you can find them with the skin off. Now, if I'm going to boil these, and that's what we're going to do, we need to skin these chickens right quick, and you can see that comes off there pretty quick. Now, also, look here, this is a bone. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to leave that bone in there because we're going to cook that down too. It's going to bring out more flavor. Well, as you can see, the water is boiling. Now, some of them are already going to say, I can hear you out there, why didn't you just leave that skin on them? You'd have got more flavor. Well, sometimes you can do that. Hey, it don't make me no difference, but so just to please y'all, I'm going to put one of them in there with it, okay? So you want to make sure you have enough water in there and get it to boiling that everybody gets covered. So that's what you call a lot of chicken for chicken and dumplings. We're going to cook this probably 10 to 15 minutes at a boil. Might not take quite that long, but you just want it to where it is fork tender and will shred easy. Well, you can see the sun has made it up over the barn because I can feel it hit me here on the side of the temple like in. But it is a beautiful morning here in camp, and let's talk about dumplings. Now, 3 cups of flour is where we're going to start. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar, which is exactly that amount. Some baking powder, which is real close. Be sure you check the date on that because it can expire and not be good. Oh, we have what you call a boiling action over here. Some salt, which is about that much. Let's go ahead and mix that really well. And I want you to form a whale there in the middle for this here cackleberry to set. So go ahead and crack him in there and you'll see him laying in there oh so pretty. Yes, he is doing his job. It is. Get you a whisk, and I just need you just to whisk him lightly. See, there is no need in ruining another, I'm not saying ruin, but make another dish dirty. So you can whisk that egg right here in the middle. I once seen an old man on a ranch where I was staying one time set a 50-pound sack of flour there beside him and make 2 biscuits in it with eggs and milk and buttermilk, and you'd never know he was in there till he got through. So to that, I need you to add, and we need to measure this, folks, about a cup of buttermilk, 1 1/4 cups. So we're going to start with a cup. We're going to pour it right there where that egg was. White vinegar, if you can get the lid off. How much? Exactly 1 cupful. Right there in the middle it goes. Everything has found its home. So now I need you to gently fold till we can get it all mixed in here. And this is going to make really a pretty shaggy dough. But I know we have made one mistake already, Shan. We have. Folks, we were supposed to have cut the butter into this before we put the liquid, but it will still work. So we're going to have to change this method up a little. Be right back. Rewind. Now when you do that, folks, and you got the flour, the sugar, and everything in there, before you add the egg or the buttermilk, go ahead and cut the butter in. Now we just need to go back to working in here to where we can get this in a ball-like form. It don't take long for this to come into shape. So when you get this all made, you can see when we pull that apart there, it's pretty wet. You don't want this too dry, but we're going to keep working it to make sure that all that butter is incorporated in there well. You just need to, I'd say, knead this 15 or 20 times, not 15 or 20 minutes. I'm going to cover it with this bread helmet, and we're going to check the chicken and see if it is tender. Well, folks, we're going to bring one of them thighs out there and put him over here on this cutting board just to see, because I know that breast will be done before he is. I can tell you for sure right now, folks, do not think that, hey, we're going to discard that broth because we need to be saving some of that. You can go ahead and take them skins out of there if you got them laying in here loose. Look out, pups. Look out, look out, look out. Got a lot of help in the kitchen. Scoot just a little bit, Mage. Scoot just a little bit more. There you go. We need to pour that back over here because we're going to reserve about 6 cups of that broth to start out with. But you can see I done took me some carrots and with the handy dandy hash knife done chopped them up. Now my dad told me in the Dust Bowl, chicken and dumplings didn't have this portion. No vegetable. It never did have celery or carrots because it was hard to grow one when the dirt been blowing for like 5 years and there wasn't no water out there. So most of the time it was just chicken. But I do remember him telling the story that his mother made what? Jackrabbit and dumplings. Because folks, when you run out of chickens at that hen house when you're going over there all the time, and then next thing you know there ain't one, next thing come along gonna be jackrabbit. 6 cups of cream, and Shan said, oh, what? 6 cups of cream? Yeah. Hey, the chicken thief is here. But folks, my dad and them, you said they just used cow milk back then. They just go out there and you pull that stool up under the 31 model. And it's, you don't milk at the front end, you milk at the back end, pull a stool up in there, and then you just turn the knobs where the faucets come on, right? No, you got to do this method. Then they would strain that cream off there when things was looking pretty generous, and they would have cream and milk combined in the chicken and dumplings. So we got 6 cups of cream in there, and we're going to go ahead and just, hey, let's go for it. Let's put a whole stick of butter in there. I think you got to have it. Now I want you to put this on medium heat because that cream can scorch if you've got that flame just blazing, licking around the side walls there. So 6 cups of chicken broth. So there's 1, 2. Let's go ahead and let's get them carrots and that celery in there because folks, we need that to be able to go ahead and cook and get tender. We're going to give it a little original seasoning because we're going to need a little bit of that salt in there. So give it a little sprinkling of that. I mean, you can just go ahead and just warm that up and have it for breakfast right there. That'd probably be good for you. Now we're going to get back to shredding this chicken. So you can do it with your hands. You see when you cook that chicken right, it's not too dry because when you boil it too long, it'll get so dry and tough that you can't pull it apart. You have had yours. You stole what was going to be shared with the other puppies. So no, I don't think so. So go ahead, get your chicken. You can chop it, shred it, tear it, whatever you want to do to it. No. Get down. You're not starving. Since we have some loyal subjects up here, Sadie has not been in timeout any today. Let's give a hand to Sade. What do you think? We have no idea where Duker is. And Duker, if you didn't know, you rewind and watch a video that come out the week before this one on the taquitos. Duker got in a skunk. There you go, Big. You done had some. That's the Meiji. Nope, quit. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can get this monstrosity of chicken meat in there. Remember what I told you? Why look for chicken and dumplings when you know it's going to be there? 2 chicken breasts and 4 thighs. Folks, I'm talking we finna have a whole bunch of goodness right here in camp. Y'all didn't get the invitation, did you? Well, I wish you had it because we'd sure feed you. Make sure you don't leave nobody out. We need all the flavor we can get. We're going to slide him back over here. And a lot of you might be asking that question, why wouldn't you do that in all them Dutch ovens you got? Well, folks, I don't like to boil a milk-based substance in a Dutch oven because it can really scorch easy in there because that cast iron gets quite a bit hotter than this little thin-walled pot and it keeps that heat. So it'll scorch in there and it'll burn, and ain't nothing worse than a burnt bean unless it's burnt milk. We're going to keep an eye on it, stir it occasionally, and probably going to cook it probably pretty close to about 15 minutes. We want that celery and them carrots to get good and tender, but that chicken to spread that love all the way throughout. And then we're going to go to dropping them dumplings in there. Home run time. So let's get our biscuit dough back out here. You can see, hey, everything is just right. Now you can use a rolling pin, or you can just flatten it with your hands, whatever you choose to do. Me, I'm just going to use the Major method today. You want to walk on it, Mage? Huh? You look bad. Your mustache is wet. Whose looks the best? I think mine might look better than yours, Mage. I don't know. When we're pulling off a piece, it's going to sort of be about like that. And this thing is going to plump up a little. It's what we're going to call a dumpling. I would say that's probably a 1/2 inch thick and maybe like, I don't know, tablespoon size. You can form them into a ball. I've seen people make them every way. My dad, when they said going through the Dust Bowl, when they would have some dumplings, a lot of times they'd be red in color, some of them. You know why? Because all that dirt done drifted in that flour sack, settled. You could sift it, but you still ain't gonna get all that out of it. Now, for our Patreon folks there, we have done a whole deal about really the conditions in which the country that I cooked in and what the old timers went through just to get through it. So be sure and check that out. It's a great story. It's about the Dust Bowl and the integrity that them people had. And I guarantee you, if they had this dish today, they'd be thinking, I can make it another 5 years. Biscuit dumplings, look at them right there. You can smell that butter in there. And folks, you got that there where it's just simmering along, bubbling right up. Shan said, you think you can get all them in there? I said, I don't know. We're going to get it till we can't get the lid on it no more. Because one thing that I always remembered when I used to make chicken and dumplings a lot of time, you had a lot of broth, but you always run out of chicken and you always run out of dumplings. So don't just dump them in there. I need you to scatter them out. That way they don't cling together. And then about every 10th or 11th one, let's go ahead and give it a stir. Then we're going to put a lid on there. We're going to let them simmer about 5 minutes. Then we're going to thicken it with some cornstarch and water. And then what we're going to do? We're going to eat it. I mean, it's going to be good. So let's do the dumpling dive in. What do you say? Tip my hat right off the bat to all them old timers that I ever knew, to all them folks, and you might have had some of them too that went through that depression, that Dust Bowl, and times was lean, food was scarce. Hey, y'all give me grit, you did, and I appreciate each one of you. But folks, have you seen this creation? I mean, have you seen the size of them dumplings? Thank you, Jesus. I mean, thank you so much. The memories that come flooding back through there from all the times my mother would fix this dish on a Sunday after church. In the wintertime, summertime, springtime, you can't go wrong. It's what we call the right time. It's the dumpling time. Woo! I be loving me some dumplings, might you? You seen me right there at the end. Mix some cornstarch, cold water, pour it in there. Make sure it is boiling or simmering before you do, and thicken it. Now, because folks, I like for that broth to be thicker than that heavy cream was. Well, we hope y'all enjoyed, because Kent really enjoyed, as you can tell. It is an old classic, a recipe that has been through the test of time, that will always get you through the thick and thin. And folks, that's pretty cheap eating right there. It is. You can go to that grocery store and come out ahead on this kind of deal. We appreciate you, we do. But as always, and it is with honor and great pride that I tip my hat to all the servicemen and women and all the veterans who have kept that flag flying back there over camp, and to the rest of y'all. Remember last week I told you y'all was family. We mean that, because because you are. Be sure and share the videos with everybody you know, because folks, we need to help everybody feel better. Give us a like on the channel. God bless you each and every one, and I'll see you down the best chicken and dumpling trail you ever seen in your life. Look at this mustache. And then look at mine. You know mine looks better than yours. You know it does. Look at the camera. Folks will tell you. Don't be grumpy. Don't be grumpy.